that question. RMC, Yeso, over to you guys.
Okay, and we're into draft loss on the blue side. They've actually gone through, and sure enough, so there's the Annie ban that we're talking about. Shocking, considering I don't think Annie's actually been banned in Phase 1 up to this point. This will be the first time. We see, of course, the Yuumi ban come through. Milio is still open, but Los Grandes, despite the trip up from red, they still believe in that Aphelios first pick. And hey, you know what? Aphelios has lost games, but he's still utterly crushing win rate.
Yeah, important to note that at least up until the start of today's games, Annie had not been banned in the first phase in any of the previous 15 games. Had also never made it to the second pick phase. So if it wasn't picked by either team in those first 3 picks, it was getting banned away before we went to the second phase. Aphelios coming out early. No big surprise there for Los Grandes, but Furia responding with the Ahri in the Pyke. And I was going to ask if IU had schooled Zai on the Bel'Veth support. We won't get that answer yet, as it's going to be back-to-back Pyke games for Zai.
Yeah, Zai, known originally as a bit of a one-trick for his Pyke play, and frankly is one of the few supports that are willing to play it. We saw it yesterday. It wasn't getting all the kills necessarily, but it was getting a lot of pressure down. And I'm a bit worried about Pyke being picked this early, because now Aphelios can go with things like a Tahm Kench to deny that away. Nautilus being the answer. This is interesting, because this is not a defensive pick. This is Ranger and Natuno saying, we are not going to back down. We don't pick safety. When you pick the Nautilus into the Pyke, you're picking a kill lane to counter that Pyke. Now it's a question of whose hooks are going to land first, because whoever lands the hook is probably going to get those kills.
Yeah, and now I'm really curious what Furia wants to pair with that, what they want to pick from IU. The Lucian already banned away. Whoa!
Yes, it has to be
Lock
aggressive.
it in, IU! Oh,
it's locked!
RMC.
It's locked!
Look, I know we've got some bans to talk about here momentarily, but I don't really care. What did we just see?
We're seeing IU. Okay, you know what? We're talking about, Los Grandes doing ego drafts yesterday. This is an ego draft right here. Pyke and Nyla, you're picking it for the kill lane. You're actually out and out trying to dominate that lane. And for Furia, the game plan has now become play the bot lane. You do not pick Pyke and Nyla and then play away from that lane. You can't play top, you can't play mid. It has to be all about the bot lane here. And I want to see Goot now pick something aggressive that can follow up with that can really enable that. I think Furia right now, they're looking for some sort of AoE engage.
Now, there's still a few things to be decided, but I want to talk about a pick up here that was a point of discussion for Trajan and Brewdude in our last game, and it's specifically the build path for the Ahri. They, not really big fans of the Everfrost utility-focused Ahri. You and I, though, seem to be of the same mind that there are certain drafts where you don't need as much damage from the mid lane, and all that wealth of utility that you can provide with the Everfrost is very good. So, with still 2 picks remaining for Furia, do you think this is maybe an Everfrost angle with how much DPS they're bringing from the bot lane?
100%, because we discussed this earlier last game, and I actually discussed it with Trajan on air in week 1, and I think that Ahri gets to build utility when her bot lane is going to be the focus, when they have so much damage that she doesn't need to be assassination threat. And with an Nyla on your team, you are just trying to set up for her to be able to pop up in these fights. So go for utility for this Ahri. Absolutely love it. Now, we mentioned AoE engage from Furia. We see the Melpite and Maokai taken away. They're still trying to deny that. Wukong is off the table as well from the first round of bans. Goot won't have any of that. So I'm curious where they go for. You can still pick something like Ornn for Bitao, who has done so well on these tanky style champions. You know you're running to a Cassante, so there's really no loss in picking your top lane first right now.
I'm also very curious. I don't... okay. Very quickly, I'm going to make my point. I don't know that we've seen jungle get dropped from both teams until the second pick phase. Until today, heavy focus in that direction with the Wukong, Maokai, Sejuani all off the table. And I was maybe asking for a Bel'Veth earlier. It looks like we're going to get it, but maybe not in the bot lane. It looks like it might be going to Goot.
I can't believe it. Goot has not played Bel'Veth. So, you were asking me if IU has taught Zai how to play Bel'Veth? Yeah. I'm guessing IU taught Goot how to play it.
I mean, let's be honest. I feel like at this point, maybe IU just ran a Bel'Veth boot camp for the entire Furia lineup. It's like, okay, here's how you play it in a solo lane. All right, Goot, come on. We're going to talk you through in the jungle. Okay, Zai, here's how it works as support. Maybe walk the entire lineup through it. And now, going really deep down that jungle tier list, the hover on the Elise looks like it might be Trick going for the Kindred. No! Swapping to the Bug at the last minute. We're getting back-to-back Kha'Zix games.
Yeah, and as far as Los Grandes is concerned, they have the exact same mentality that we were talking about in that bot lane. You pick LeBlanc Kha'Zix, to kill people. This is all about bursting down IU before he can get the damage out. I liked the Kindred hover, but that's a defensive option. You're saying that you come in, we use Lamb's Respite, we're going to survive this. You pick LeBlanc and Kha'Zix, you have to burst out IU. If you fail, then, well, your entire team's going to get wiped in that team fight. The Ornn we see come through for Bitao, that's just stock standard. They needed some form of engage, and so I am so excited for this match. Coming to this,
wow,
I was already excited. I didn't know who was going to win it, but now that I look at the draws, even more so. These teams are just going to go hard at each other.
Yeah, and the Bel'Veth, right, getting that kind of carry style jungler that brings a lot of DPS to the table, although further incentivizes Tuts to be like, hey, I could just be that utility carry. I could just bring that CC to the table alongside this Ornn. So Furia not lacking in the damage department. We got a LeBlanc from Lava here. So we were wondering coming into this game, right? 6 games of Annie between these two mid laners. What were we going to see? The Annie gets banned away right off the bat, and we get a LeBlanc versus an Ahri. Ahri cropping up a little bit here in Champion Select throughout the start of this split. LeBlanc coming through, though, that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, and I think the new build for LeBlanc is Static Shift. Now, I'm not sure if 13.11, if it's enabled and ready to roll, but basically, if it is, that's the new build in LeBlanc. You have a ton of wave push. You've got actually really good poke. It scales great on AP as well. And LeBlanc, with how slippery she is, suddenly she's not just that assassin that dives your back line. She's your wave clear. She's your poke damage as well. Trying to lock her down will be an issue. There is no real sort of point and click CC available for Furia in this matchup. A lot of it is targeted. A lot of it does take some time to pop off and land.
Hawk, I got to bring you in really quickly. There's so much to address in this Champion Select, but as we get ready to hit the Rift here for Game 4 today, what are you thinking?
You know, so there is a lot to address, and dare I say,
good luck.
Sum it all up, that this is most certainly the match of the week. 2-2-1 teams slamming confidence picks down on both sides of the Rift. I have no idea what to expect from this except for blood. Los Grandes and Furia, they've hit the Rift for Game 4 of the day.
RMC, I am so ready. I am so excited. We already got delivered such a fun game between Kane Gaming and Vivocade Stars for our first of the day. This is our last game of the day. Of course, don't worry, there's still one more game of CBLOL action after this. We got Liberty and Loud to close out your Sunday, but for RMCI, we have just been delivered a treat here with Los Grandes and Furia. This is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, so my body is not ready for what we're about to witness. I am excited. I'm probably going to need to lie down after this one here. Now, early game expectations. A lot of our games so far have been focused on mid lane and top lane, with bot laners, just kind of picking scaling champions, looking to scale up. That will not be the case this game. Our focus in the early game will be in the bot side. IU and Zai, especially on this Nyla and Pyke, are going to be looking for action. And right from the get-go, we don't forget about lanes here. So they're just invading the jungle, pushing Trick out with a delayed invade.
Run, Trick! Get out of there! Your 4 EU titles will protect you from this bot lane. I promise.
It's a CBLOL welcome. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah. Honestly, early invade. Goot's going to take away the Raptors here. Trick immediately just shifts up to his blue side quadrant. Really curious. It looks like Goot is going to stay. So possible vertical jungling here, which will give a lot of safety to IU and Zai. They can play very aggressively without any concern of Trick coming down here early on. So that's really nice for the Furia bottom lane.
Okay, we do have confirmation from production that Static Shift is enabled. So expect to see that from Lava. Yeah, thank you, Gashi, our producer, for getting us that information. Now, the vertical jungle you're talking about, Yuso. So, vertical jungle, it's not bad for Trick. He gets to farm up, and Kha'Zix with gold is, of course, really, really dangerous. But it's not good for Los Grandes as a whole, because now Furia get to pressure in this bot lane. And we already mentioned topside, it's kind of two tanks going at each other. We're not expecting that early action. You can tell Natuno and Ranger are aware of it. They're playing very safe and not wanting to overextend under that turret. And now for Goot, I don't know if you can turret dive this at level 3, but it looks like they're going to try.
I mean, he's thinking about it. Wave is going to be cleared out. IU and Zai feeling confident. Ghost is going to get used by IU. They're going to dive under. Flash a wave from Zai to try and get out of trouble. The tower shot, though, is going to finish him off. That's first blood to Ranger and Lava looking for more. The teleport down to the bot lane. They're looking for Goot. Might get out of here, but will IU as well. Ignite coming through there from Ranger. Lava, bloodthirsty here. The hook will miss. Flash from IU to get the safety. The early dive goes wrong for Furia.
Yeah, and that was my issue in question. You saw that even when they went in. Look how low Natuno is. And when I say low, I mean look how healthy he is. Less than half his health on that particular dive. Even if the TP didn't come through, Ranger probably would still have been able to pick up first blood. And because of that, I'm actually not a huge fan of that TP. Lava didn't follow up with Goot. They could have had Goot, but they got greedy and they wanted to shut down IUs, recognizing that Nyla is the bigger problem. She's the scaling threat. As a result, Lava gets neither, walks back into lane, and is now going to be down XP and experience in an already rather volatile matchup between an Ari and a LeBlanc.
The biggest question I have about top lane, RMC, is will we get a duplicate of probably my favorite highlight of the split so far? The wet noodle fight into the double flashes away from each other that we got to see earlier today. That is, I'm just praying, because that absolutely made my day to start off our broadcast. It was so much fun. And, you know, the Ornn is back up there, so, you know, maybe we'll get lucky here. But meanwhile, Goot clearing out blue side is going to take that bot side scuttle crab trick down to the bottom lane. IU and Zai pushed in. Zai going to clear out that ward, maybe thinking about it. This is risky. Doesn't know that Trick is... Oh, I think they just spotted him. They have the information now.
The ping's coming down, and the other thing is I don't think Los Grandes realized there's a ward in that middle bush as well. So it is a little bit difficult for Trick to push up. As we say that though, IU and Zai, they are pushing this wave. So they are putting themselves in dangerous territory right now. It's a question
Goot's
of
in their back
how
pocket,
much baiting. True, he's on his way. He's coming down. We are seeing the mid laners kind of rotate out as well. Lava spotted on a ward, so this is likely to be an isolated 2v.
Hook's going to come through. That's going to be Trick jumping in, but Goot, as soon as he is spotted, Trick flashes out of danger. Well played there for Furia to get the flash out of the enemy jungler.
It's everything we expected so about this bot lane. The fact that both teams are focusing down, and the moment Trick finished his clear, he was pathing right back down for that side. Doesn't want to keep the vertical jungle. Interesting hook interactions. Nautilus stretch line honestly is kind of busted because it always seems to go second. So he gets pulled in and he gets dragged like extra far out. Now Trick and Goot, they don't know that they're in the jungle of each other. So Goot has a disadvantage in vision and info right now.
Yeah, Trick going to spot him. Is going to get that isolated damage. Goot has to back away just because that's a lot of damage. And Trick can't follow because Tuts is able to respond first thanks to the push in mid. But Goot in trouble there. Love that from Ranger, right? Being able to buffer that hook, you know, as a former top laner, as well as playing in the jungle. Maybe he had a little Nautilus jungle back in his days. He knows the interaction.
Okay, Ranger stepping up aggressively right now.
Yeah, he is going to land the hook there onto IU, and the Ignite coming through almost off cooldown. So IU having to back away for the time being. And looks like Los not too concerned with playing for the kill at this moment. They just want to kind of freeze this wave, and they want to force IU to just take an unoptimal back. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Lava dashing in, and that's to force him to back off. Looks like the recall will come through, and Tut's going to be able to crash a wave here. No teleport available for Lava, so it might lose some significant CS here.
Yeah, and a lot of it coming from that early TP from Lava into the bot lane. Tuts is still holding his teleport, so he gets shoved for all day long, and he gets to kind of get a cheer recall if he so wish whenever he wants to. Now Zai just soaking up the XP here, being a little bit cheeky by sticking around. I still want to focus on this bot lane, Yeso, because I'm talking about Ranger this time. You know, we talk about Zai being Natuno's former support and a lot of what enabled Natuno last split to be so aggressive in lane, and now he's enabling IU to be aggressive in lane. But Ranger, not known as very much of a mechanical player for the most part, more like a cerebral macro player.
Sure.
This Nautilus, when you just right-click and stun a person like what he's doing with IU and Zai right now, it's very simple, but it's a decision-making process. And props to Ranger for knowing exactly when to go. And the moment the hook goes down from Zai, if the stun goes down from Zai, or if IU oversteps, you're seeing Ranger step up each and every time saying, I know exactly how much damage I can take, and both of you are pretty short range. I can auto-attack you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Definitely going to enjoy watching this bottom lane all throughout this game, especially once IU truly comes online on this Nyla. It'll be very fun to watch. Meanwhile, Tuts dashing in, wants to get the kill, will eat the tower shot, but it's not enough. Solo kill for Tuts.
Yeah, okay. I was still wondering if the TP was still up. If it was, you know, that'd be even better for Tuts. It would guarantee Dragon. Now Furia going for it, but they do have to be careful. Los Grandes can look to contest. It's equal numbers, but Los Grandes, yeah, they don't want to smoke. They don't want to risk it. And Furia win out mid, and it results in the Dragon. Are they looking for more in this bot lane?
Ranger able to perfectly
interaction,
buffer that dredge line once again, gets out of trouble. Would have been very dangerous, right? Because as soon as you get that hook, immediately you can chain it into the stun, and dude is ready to come in there. So well played from Ranger. They'll get out of trouble. First strike over to Furia. Los immediately responding with the Rift Herald. So, you know, things can change, folks watching at home, but I'll tell you, if you go by the numbers of what we've seen through now 18 games and change of this split in the CBLOL, Furia is probably going to get the second Drake, and Los will probably get the second Rift Herald.
That's fair. And I think it is what the teams don't particularly mind trading for the most part. Now, we should touch on top lane a little bit just because we did see Herald go down. And we are seeing lane swaps as Natuno is rotated up. So Los Grandes want to pick up the speed of the game. They don't like what's been happening down bot, and they're trying to get Natuno out of there. Bull was actually winning the match against Batao in the one-on-one, but not significantly. So I think Los Grandes, it's a right call.
Okay, so Los isn't going to spot this until very late. Blast Cone is available. Tuts and Batao, the entire 5-man lineup for Furia getting up here. And it looks like Trick was considering dropping that Rift Herald to infuse some more gold into this Aphelios. But as soon as they spot that rotation from the Furia lineup, they immediately back away. Batao's going to walk his way down to match up with Bull in this bottom lane. Important to note, 3.5 minutes till that next Drake is up. Bull, meanwhile, knocking down some tower plates.
Yeah, that was a really good response from Furia because they moved later, they saw Natuno, and they instantly rotate people around. Bull does get a bunch of CS and a plate to his name as well in this ball lane. So Bull actually benefiting from this, going to be real happy. And the question is, what happens to Ranger and Natuno, who haven't been the happiest?
Meanwhile, Trick trying to use lava as bait here, is going to jump over the wall, get some isolated damage. They're on to Goot. Goot's in big trouble here. It's going to need to be a big charm from Tuts to get him out of there. Ooh, the snare and the flash away from lava to avoid that charm. And man, they're trading all kinds of resources in this mid lane, but lava lives.
Yeah, and I'm not sold that Trick on the Kazakhs wants to be fighting these 2v2s this early on. You don't get the isolated damage, and just picked up the Umbral Glaive, but before that didn't have that much lethality. You're burst champion, and Belveth is able to nullify a lot of that by going into that sort of defensive bulwark mode for the most part. So Los Grandes kind of picking fights that I don't like, and now their flash is down. Upside 2v2s going in.
Yeah, ultimate coming through there from Ranger. Zai's gonna get taken out. That kill credit does go to the support, and Bull has arrived here as well with that teleport. IU trying to get out of trouble, dash to the safety, though I don't know if that is that safe under this tower. Apotheosis comes through, but it's not nearly enough. Bull picks up the kill. Rift Herald dropped as well. What a response from Los Grandes in this top lane.
And this is what Los wanted to do a minute and a half earlier, so they pulled off this time. Perfect execution. And the initial 2v2, even when Zai goes down, you see how dicey it is. The fact that Natuno and Ranger didn't really want to fully commit to that because they're aware of what IU can do on this Nyla when she does turn around. But the moment everybody else showed up, when Bull TP'd, when Trick hopped in, that was where everything changed. And they had Herald in their back pocket as well. We get to see the start of this. And it's actually Zai looking for that hook once again, looking to try and get that burst. But we said before with Ranger, with this Nautilus, it's a lot about decision-making, Trick. Bye-bye.
Rest in peace. Zai from the depths picking up that kill, and Trick has not been, bad this game, but it's been a bit of a rough go for him these first 2 weeks in the CBLOL. The start on the Viego was solid. The Sejuani games, take him or leave him. We really need to see him show up on this Kazakhs because I think he's going to be very important if Los wants to avoid dropping to 2-2.
Yeah, and when you think about, Trick having stepped away from League of Legends for a little bit, the first couple of weeks I kind of excuse this. Oh, he's warming back up, right? Like he's got to understand the meta. He's got to get his hands back in shape again. And to me, this Kazakhs game is one of those situations where it feels like, okay, he's warmed up enough and he wants to go back to that carry performance. So I was hoping to get to see a little bit more out of him, but I don't know if it's just the champion. We saw Aegis really struggle on the Kazakhs as well, especially in the early game. We're seeing Trick kind of suffer the same way right now. It's like he's got damage, but not quite enough to kill anybody.
And if you don't have enough damage to kill anybody, what are you doing as a Kha'Zix? Like, you don't really bring much else to the team, right?
Definitely, and that's exactly what we're seeing in a lot of these trades. Charm lands onto Ranger, but he don't care. And the two teams, are we going to get to see a full-on team fight right now? I do feel like Furia would benefit from that if they could force it on their terms.
So many teams willing to just trade 2 Drakes for 2 Rift Heralds. So much so that I'm willing to say it on broadcast RMC, and it feels like they heard me and said, oh, no, I think we'll just 5v5 it at the second Drake. Why not? I mean, we'll go for it. Meanwhile, Batao getting caught there, pull in onto 1. Trick trying to jump to the backline. A lot of damage there onto IU as touches arrive here as well. Flash away from Ranger. Into the backline goes Lava. Has to jump out of trouble. Very low health there for IU and Goop, but somehow nobody goes down.
Yeah, that's the job done. We saw what Trick and Lava are meant to do in a lot of these fights. Jump IU up front, get the first damage out. The moment IU's gone, Furia can't team fight. Their team fight is predicated on this AD carry pick. And Yeso, not only did Lost challenge for second Drake, they're going to pick it up. Minions taking that top lane as well. And Los Grandes, the discipline from them is shining through this game.
Yeah, I would say the only unfortunate thing is nobody around for local gold on first brick, but still very good for Los Grandes opening up that top lane. And they also lead in the plate department. You can see it right there, 6-4 in favor of Los Grandes here. And as we quickly approach the 15-minute mark, an important break point for a lot of people when you're looking at gold difference and these kinds of things. It's 1,000 gold lead for Los Grandes. They'll be looking to hopefully balloon that. Rift Herald coming up right as we speak. Furia doesn't want to give it up, so we might get another contest here at a neutral objective.
And yeah, so as the map opens up as well, the nature of the game changes a lot. We're used to seeing teams pick team fight compositions. Both these teams have gone for pick compositions. Well, pick-ish compositions. Los Grandes certainly with the Kha'Zix LeBlanc and Nautilus, but Furia more with just the fighting. And for Los Grandes, as the map opens up, it gives them more opportunities to find these picks. For now, though, Furia are going to answer back. They're still trading the dragons, or objectives, pardon me, Dragon or Herald. I'm a little bit concerned to see if Lost decide to fight this. They are collapsing on Furia.
Oh, Goot is in so much trouble here, staying there in the pit, but it's actually just going to be the shutdown onto Ranger. Well done there from Zai. Batao looking for a little bit of crowd control, not able to land it, but maybe Zai hunting for more, looking for Trick and Lava there. They're just going to go back to this mid lane, Rift Herald in hand, and drop it. And this should be an easy mid lane tier 1 if they choose to go for it. Looks like they're going to go for the reset, though. Not greed for this gold.
Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous. Red-white for Natuno right there. So if you do try and fight him under a turret and the entire team of Los Grandes is willing to defend, you can't really capitalize. And you just picked up Herald. You're not in a rush to deploy it. I love seeing the patience to hold it for more tactical use. Lava waiting on Tats. Has the Static Shiv right now, so it's good poke there.
Meanwhile, Zai in the top lane. Lava trying to get out of trouble. Will avoid the crowd control there from Goot and Zai, and that is just enough to keep the loose mid laner alive for a little bit longer. Trick in the area as well. Looking to clear out some vision. Does have an Umbral Glaive available. Of course, matched by Zai's first purchase. And you can see it there. Told you at the top of the game. Make sure to stick around after this when Trajan and Rudude slide back in to call Liberty. And Loud, we'll see if Loud can avoid that 0-4 start. Meanwhile, mid lane, Los Grandes looking to siege here. They get the shutdown of their own. Zai is down. Teleport on its way, but it might be too late here from Batao. That's going to be the Ornhorn.
Where's the backup?
In the mid lane. And actually isn't going to be able to get the knockup that he's looking for. Furia faltering here as we kick off the mid game.
Yeah, and the picks, we mentioned before, right? It's whoever pulls the trigger first, whoever finds the pick first, and Pike gets found. Batao under turret getting hammered.
He's going to buffer a little bit of the CC, but not nearly enough to preserve his life. Another kill for Los Grandes, and that lead starting to grow, RMC.
Well, we had said before, this battle is going to be, you know, how decisive the shot calling is going to be. And I want to add something to that. I think it's how disciplined these teams are. The fact that Furia should not have stuck around that turret. That wasn't legal. you they could just walk in and do the damage, and they just kind of abandoned Batao there. Natuno, Natuno didn't even pause to take a look. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Cool guys don't stop when hooks come their way. Natuno just walked in, no problem, safe.
Oh man, it's the twin brother of the weak side police there coming into mid lane to chase down Batao and the rest of Furia.
I've not heard that term before. Weak side police.
Weak side police? Wee woo, wee woo. Oh, it's Lava getting punished by the weak side police. Here is
Okay.
taking him down. Goot there with the gank. That's another kill there onto mid laner here for Furia. Yeah, it was who the name escapes me right now. Who's the former LEC jungler that started doing color commentary for
Casual?
Cadril, yes. I think when Cadril first did Worlds, if memory serves, he brought the weak side police. It was basically when people were getting punished for staying too long, too deep on weak side, and they would get like ganked by 3 people. It's kind of like we were seeing with Weiser and Dinkato in the last game, or 2 games ago, I should say.
Sure. In this case, though, I almost don't want to call it weak side police because, like, as an AD carry, you're put in the mid lane as one of the safest, shortest lanes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Zai is still...
To be clear, it wasn't weak side when they caught Batao in mid. It was the twin brother who I don't have a clever name for.
We'll find something, Jason. We'll find something. Yeah, right now, this feels less like police and more like gangs. You know, they just roam around and just like, hey, we're in your space now. We're in your turf. It's a gang war we're seeing.
Is this Grease? Are you gonna start singing to me, RMC?
I'm trying to remember what the Grease song is, but yeah, we can see the terms clearly carved out right now. Furia, they want the mid lane. They just dropped Herald, and they don't care about that dragon. They're going to keep pushing in. And what Los Grandes did to them at the outer mid, they will do to anybody on the side of Los Grandes who opts to stick around when they shouldn't be there. Furia, I think they take the better end of the trade. It's only second Drake for Los Grandes, whereas that turret opens up the map so much more for them. And we said that Los like the open map because of picks. Well, Zai has shown that he likes it because if he can catch Lava, Trick, or Netuno, he actually might be able to 1v1 them if he's the one getting to jump.
Yeah, and just a little cherry on top too that the Rift Herald actually gets that full charge onto the tier 2. So really nice there for Furia. Definitely opening up the map. And look, the gold is essentially dead even. And I think you make a great point talking about how it's only that second Drake. Furia not stuck in any sort of compromising position in terms of having to contest the next Drake. If they don't like their position in 4 minutes, they can certainly concede it and play for things elsewhere on the map. Looks like they want to maybe play for another pick here on Lava. Lava will spot out that ward. And I mean, look, it's a LeBlanc. Lava's going to be hard to lock down at any point in this game.
True, especially when she's under her own turret. Trick. Going for IU.
Oh, IU having to back away. The support is here quicker from the side of Furia. It's the 4v4, the teleport on its way from Batao, and Los Grandes seemingly happy to get that summoner spell and back away.
And yeah, so these teleports are actually going to be pivotal for these teams. The way they're playing, the fact that the weak side police are going to punish anybody who overextends in these. Yeah, I learned the term and I'm going to abuse it. Right?
I'm so happy.
So they are going to punish anybody on the side lane, which means that the TPs become very, very important to be able to rotate very quickly and punish in a way these attempted picks by these players. So having that down for Beitaro does mean that Bo can now push out bot lane, potentially take that outer turret, and Los Grandes will still have pressure on Baron, whereas Furia, now, who are you going to send to answer Bo on the bot lane? If you send Batao, there's a chance that Los Grandes just pull the trigger, collapse on you top side, numbers advantage with TP. Anybody else, and well, they're probably going to die.
It could be very, very scary. That's a shutdown, though, onto Trick, who gets caught there just outside of the mid lane, and it looks like all indications for Furia, they're thinking
still sticking around.
Maybe looking for more in the mid lane, though. They're going to catch out Ranger. Beautiful buff there on the dredge line. Once again, flashes into the rapid. The Tudu has to flash away, but the Apotheosis will catch him. This might be the Aphelios going down. Zai takes him out, and here comes Furia. Bull and Lava. Too little, too late. Do they continue to walk forward? Looks like Furia, all indications
just go for Baron.
It's time for Baron.
Yeah, Trick is still down. Oh, never mind.
They might just turn it right around. Goot there onto Bull. A lot of damage there onto the top laner, but Goot getting it turned around on it. Has to dash back to safety. Meanwhile, Zai going to retreat. Lava maybe considering to going with a double dash there. Zai will dash over the wall and get out of trouble. Baron will live for the time being. Tuts up to this top lane to secure a third tower for Furia.
We went from Baron to Blood real quick, and now this is a little bit risky for Furia. IU still sticking around, but we've seen this song and dance. Good flash from Batao this time. He learned.
Looked very familiar, RMC.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this replay from this last play in mid lane. It starts all RMC with Trick getting caught.
And I did not see that. That was not on my list of that was not my bingo card for things that would happen as we kick this off. And I love what Furia do here. They get tricked, but they don't immediately turn on to Baron. Instead, they actually look for more. And even though the initial engage was kind of whiffed, Ranger played that really, really well, they know they can keep going in, so they just double down, triple down. Now, the problem for me was when they found a 2-0. At that point, I think you go for Baron, because no jungler, no AD carry. But they kept looking for kills, and that ended up closing the window. They're kind of lucky, actually, that Los Grandes did push harder on that mid lane turret, because that could have resulted in turrets going down, or even death if the tower didn't flush.
The one good thing, though, if you're Furia, you know you just blew flashes on both bot lane and support. So that play is repeatable. Ranger and Natuna are going to have to be a lot more careful here over the next few minutes until those summoner spells return, and that means Furia with possibly an opening to set themselves up for another Baron tech. Keep an eye on that here as both teams start to posture in the mid lane.
I guess you don't have to worry about flashes and being defensive if you're the one picking the fight, and Los Grandes is certainly looking for it. I don't know if they want it, though. They find Vitao.
Horn's going to come through, and it isn't going to get launched once again. Vitao going to dash out of there. It is a trade 1-for-1. Top laner for support. That's a victory if you're Los Grandes. That front line significantly hurt here. Fury. They're going to pull it in lava. Apotheosis will catch him. The ultimate from the pike is not lane, but it does not matter. Good is popping off, and Ayu as well. You cannot run, Bull, because here comes Los Grandes trying to return to the safety of his jungle. Will get there momentarily. Does Zai go for it? Doesn't have the reset for his ultimate. He does not care. Furia turned back for the Baron.
Yeah, and Trick, recognizing that's going to happen, Trick's just like, okay, we can't even try for Baron. I will take Dragon instead as a consolation prize. Furia finally get themselves after the Baron. Turns out, yeah, they just need multiple kills, and they finally had enough blood to save them. 3 kills before the Baron. Yeso, I just don't understand why Los Grandes opted for that fight.
Yeah. And we get a good look there at Furia very quickly learning from their mistake. You just talked about it after they caught out Natuno and Ranger. Just go right for the Baron. This time, they get the picks they're looking for. They immediately turn back for that neutral objective. Let's take a look at the replay of this fight.
And it starts off with Vitao being the one caught by the hook. And Vitao does get burnt fairly quickly. The CC layering is immaculate, so there's never the second charge of the Ornhorn. But look at how many abilities are burnt on Vitao. That's almost everybody's active abilities. Moonlight Vigil kind of whiffs, and even that felt like it was targeted at Vitao. And the problem is now that everything's down, Furia are just like, okay, our ults are still up. And then Ayu gets to just pop off here, re-engage on the rest of that fight. And it almost feels like we're watching Ayu's Bel'Veth with how little damage Goot is taking and how well he's just tanking the upfront bursts of damage.
Yeah, and there's really been a common theme through a lot of these fights is that Vitao is absorbing so many cooldowns from Los Grandes, and if you're Furia, you're like, oh, okay, cool, spend all of your CC on our tank that's going to take you 15 seconds to take down. We'll just, as you mentioned, roll in with all of our cooldowns ready to go and wipe out your primary carry. Scoot dashing over the wall to get the knock there onto Trick. Looks like Furia trying to take over this blue quadrant. They want to secure the rest of these towers outside of the Los Grandes space. That call on the board got to land, but it's a hook in onto Goot, and it's going to be a hook to his demise. Vitao gets revenge, says, throw another dredge line at me, Ranger. I can take it.
Yeah, I think if you're a Ranger, you want to throw a dredge line towards the ball. Get out of there ASAP. And that is terrifying, watching Furia just walk up and oppress Los Grandes with the Baron buff. Really well played. Normally, with a team like that, you might struggle a little bit on the siege. Nyla's attack range is actually fairly short onto turrets, or, well, I don't want to say it's short, but it's certainly, you have to put yourself in a little bit of danger to get those auto attacks off. But Los Grandes, they actually don't have a great means of engage other than Ranger, and unfortunately for Ranger right now, he's not tanky enough to be able to kick off fights the way Vitao will. Lava, bye-bye. Not even close. You know, yeah, it's weak side police, I guess. Wee woo woo.
Wee woo woo.
Oh, wee woo wee. I'll get it right one day.
He's just standing there, RMC. Menacingly.
Oh, jeez. That's rough to watch. I wanted so much to talk about Static Shiv, Luden's Echo, this sort of new build that's coming out for LeBlanc, but in all honesty, it doesn't matter. The wave clear doesn't matter. The poke doesn't matter. Right now, it's see hero, kill hero.
Yeah, and it's really just because we haven't really seen Lava threatening Ayu. right? Maybe one fight they were able to get in, but so much of it has been actually Trick has been getting into the backline and burning a lot of IU's health bar. But as you mentioned earlier, it's never been enough to take him down, and that's why this Nyla has continued to thrive. And it looks like Furia, they have their eyes on the prize here. They go right through bottom lane, take an inhibitor and a Nexus tower in quick succession, using the strength that they have right now to their advantage, and this is going to make it a lot easier. Who knows if we get another 2 minutes in this game, but they're going to have a very easy time setting up for this next Drake to deny Soul from Los Grandes.
Yeah, Nyx Drake or even Nyx Dragon, Nyx Baron. Pardon me, IU. Okay. I don't even know if Trick can actually kill IU here.
We're going to find out. IU is not easy to kill. Trick's going to jump in. He is going to get the isolation damage, but the ultimate is so much, and IU doesn't risk it. I like the safe play there, and Trick is running off with his tail between his legs.
Emergency services? Call an ambulance, but not for IU! What happened to the weak side police, Yeso?
They came to the mid lane. They're here to punish everybody on Los Grandes.
Oh my goodness,
the entire
dude.
map is the weak side if you're on blue side this game.
I'm almost speechless right now just watching that. The assassins are getting popped by IU and Zai, and the Furia. Okay, you've got your lead. We praised Furia for being decisive. Let's see how they close this one out now. 40 seconds till Dragon spawns, and honestly, Dragon doesn't matter for Furia. If anything, I just want to see them try and bait Los Grandes in with that Dragon, find a pick, and end the game.
I feel like if you're Los Grandes, if you're playing this right, you don't allow yourself to get baited to Drake. You know that it's just stalling your soul. It's not anything you should be concerned about from the side of the Furia. The only neutral objective you should contest for as Los Grandes is Baron.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. I fully agree with that. You can afford to give up that early Dragon, but Furia, here we go. They're still baiting. They're still waiting. They're still looking for an ambush.
This is CBLOL, and I do not forget that. That is not lost on me, Ars. So do not worry.
Well, it might be lost on loss, unfortunately. They are struggling right now. Well played from them. Notice how they're not walking out to that Dragon whatsoever. They're playing just in their base, collecting farm. And for Los Grandes, it looks very, very dire, but this is because Furia has pressured them and not allowed Los Grandes to set up any sort of way back in the game. As far ahead as Furia is, they can still be caught. And if IU gets burst down, if Zai, yes, the support, if he gets caught before these fights break out, it's actually a large chunk of damage taken away from Furia's pick potential. So Los Grandes, I love what they're doing. Set up the vision and try and manufacture a pick of your own. I don't know if Trick trying to 1v1 anybody is considered a pick at this point, though.
That is important to note. It also is important to check in on Natuno, because, of course, has been the biggest carry here for Los Grandes so far this split. And as the call of the Forge God comes through, that's Bull going in and mid lane. I'm going to have to hold that point here because we're going to get a team fight. They're all jumping on Bull. Bull is kidnapped IU. IU going to survive for the time being, actually gets the sustain that he needs, and is going to go gold, which means Bull is done. Lava has finally arrived, but IU still lives. Down goes another. It's all going wrong as the double kill comes through for Guts.
And this is going to be Baron Call once again. Trick able to limp out, but Lava and Bull, the sacrifice. And now for Trick, you know, we've seen his magic trick already. It's watch me disappear. Now he's got to turn that onto the Baron and make the Baron disappear. Bye-bye, Ranger.
Buffer the crowd control that you do not see, RMC. Ranger goes down. It's now just up to Trick and Natuno to deny and secure a miracle Baron here. I mean,
no vision.
You have to concede it, but you also lose the game if you concede it. It's a lose-lose here, I feel like.
Well, they lose the game if they don't concede it right now. They need to go back to base. There are supers knocking on their door right now. So Natuno and Trick, yeah, they just kind of left empty-handed, going home in shambles. And Furia, this is what we were waiting for. Now they're going to look to close out. Wow, those picks are doing a lot more damage than expected. That Nexus turret almost went down just to, what was that, 1.5 waves? 1 wave, actually.
We talked about it before this game that we felt like these were two of the teams that we've seen some of the best and most decisive macro play from through 3 games, RMC. Yeah. And Furia has truly put that on display here, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, taking the right fights once they had an advantage. How impressed have you been with Furia here through 32 minutes?
incredibly. And I just feel like in general, CBLOL's younger players that are coming in have impressed me so much, right? We've had multiple iterations of kindergarten, as they call them, you know, Kreshkinins, the Libertines, and now the Furia kids. The Furia kids are looking really good. And we talk a lot about IU and Zai because they deserve it, but Goot's looking really good. And Vitao, Vitao to me is like the weak side king right now. He's just saying, okay, I know my team has carries. I will play utility every game if I need to. And this game, a lot of times his ults are getting interrupted, but it doesn't matter. Him just being there is providing so much frontline, so much beef that Los Grandes can't cut through.
We've seen a lot of top laners going for carries, picking up split pushers and things like that. Vitao has been more than happy to play the tank. His Trick is just going to be able to flash away from the ultimate of Zai to keep his life, but it might not even matter. That is going to be one inhibitor going down in bottom lane. Tud's able to dash away from Ranger and Zai there to keep him safe as the second inhibitor will fall. Looks like the rest of Furia wants to get in here there, and Vitao's going to dash into the range of the Nexus tower. He will go down, but I don't know that it'll matter. IU's still alive. 4 members of Los Grandes to keep it going. Zai gets the pull there onto Bull, but has to get out of trouble. Looking for the pull here. Trick's gonna dodge it. They're trying to chase Furia out of the base. This might be enough. Lava very low, but a shutdown there onto Tud. And Los lives to fight another day.
A stay of execution for Los Grandes. They had to clutch it out, and they did. This time, really great positioning from them. And once again, Netuno, when he's left unchecked, is able to just cut through everybody in these fights. But as good as the fight was for Los Grandes, Yeso, the image that's burned into my mind was Zai 1v1ing Trick on that bot side push. Zai, a support, a level down, and he is still 1v1ing Trick. If Furia are winning that far ahead, how many times does Los Grandes have to win these fights, these last stands, to be able to catch back up?
Yeah, and you talk about Netuno, and that was the point I was going to make before we started to see these teams posturing in mid lane, is that Netuno is essentially dead even in terms of itemization so far with IU, and very specifically has that Lord Dominic's regard, which is a very important breakpoint when you've got to deal with a team with an Ornn in the front line. Now, if it doesn't take them as long to burn through Vitao, maybe they don't have to spend as many resources, and then maybe you've got more CC for those priority targets. Keep an eye on how Los Grandes fight what could be the final team fight of this game. We'll see if they can keep this rolling. Goot, the rest of Furia moving into mid lane now, and Los going to retreat to the safety of their base.
Yeah, and by extension, watch if Furia can get into the back line. These tanks trading damage. The hook lands on Ranger.
Yep, there's going to be the call. The Forge God. It's going to not be finished once again, and they do take out Vitao. There's the damage you need to see from Netuno, and they still have a lot of resources available. Hook going to land there onto Zai, but the follow-up doesn't come through just yet. Beautiful charm there. Touch, dashing out, barely living, goes gold. That actually might be to his detriment, but they don't have the vision. The Ahri survives.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So the fact that Los Grandes win another fight, they get the pick almost 2. But it kind of doesn't matter. There's so many turrets they need to chew through. They're still going to surrender this dragon. And on this mid lane push, they do have to be careful they don't overextend. Watch for Zai and Tuts to still look potentially for picks on squishier members.
A lot of towers on the map. Blessing and a curse slows down your push, but there is a lot of standing gold available for Los Grandes to try and close this gap. Now we've got both teams at 3 Drakes apiece. RMC, 4.5 minutes to that comes up, but 1.5 minutes till this next Baron. We thought the previous one would be all that Furia needed to finish the game, but Los have stayed alive, and now it looks like we're going to get at least one more big team fight.
Yeah, the next one probably will end the game if there's a numbers inequality in the kills. If one team has 3 more members than the other by the end of that fight, yeah, that might actually be able to push, because that mid lane shove from Los Grandes just pushed all the way into that inhibitor turret, and almost 40 minutes into the game right now, that's more than enough time for teams to be able to end this. Yeah, so I want to go back to your point about that last team fight. You were calling watch Netuno's positioning, and by extension, watch how Furia are going to be able to punish Netuno. Nobody was able to find that back line, and that defensive wall around your base is doing so much work for Los Grandes. That's where Furia is faltering. Now on open ground, at the Baron, you don't have that sort of safety anymore. And for Furia, they've got great vision set up. If Los Grandes want to be able to fight in contest, they need to start denying that vision and make sure they've got enough of their own to spot Goot, Tuts, Zai looking for flanks.
Zai is going to spot out Trick here. Trick looking for the isolation damage, but Zai is going to be able to dash back to the safety of his team. One thing I really want to see in this next fight, I need Batal to get an earlier call of the Forge God. It feels like every time he's using his ultimate, it's almost defensively, right? Los have already tried to engage onto him, and a lot of times they're able to cancel that crowd control. We'll not see it here, though, as that's going to be the dash.
There we
go.
go.
The Forge God comes through, does get the big knock up there onto Natudo. It will stall the damage there from the Aphelios, and down goes Ranger. Trick and Lava, half health or lower, they have to back away. Zai, fairly low as well.
They caught Natudo.
Crowd control there onto Bull. They're going to catch out Trick. Natudo's still alive, firing away on the Aphelios. So much damage. Low health bars on multiple Furia members, but he's down. It's all
Lava.
Lava. He will fall. It's a quadra kill for IU, and I think Furia have done it.
The 4th of the league, and what did I say? Yeah, so if it's 3 or more numbers inequality, they push to end. Supers coming in the bot side, they don't have to wait. Heck, there are no Nexus starts that went down. They're just gonna end this one, yeah. So, and you know what? I gotta give props to Hawk, because